Hey everyone, I'm Anya Esma, and today I want to talk to you about whether tarot actually works. We're going to answer a lot of questions about what expectations you can have of it, depending on who reads for you, whether you're reading for yourself, what I do with tarot, what I think it can do in your life, and what I think it maybe cannot do. So let's talk about what is the deal with tarot. It's becoming more and more popular, so I wanted to make this video to kind of discuss the question of whether it actually works. I recently restarted my YouTube channel after being gone for a year, and this is one of the first videos I'm making, so do let me know whether this is helpful for you. And if you haven't seen my face before, do subscribe if you want to. And we're just going to jump right in and talk about whether tarot actually works and how it works. So I think the first question you got to ask yourself if you think about whether tarot works for you, you have to think about, is someone else reading for you or are you reading for yourself? Because depending on that, there's going to be a huge range of what tarot can or cannot do. So let's first talk about the case that someone else is reading for you. So if someone else is reading for you, it really depends on their belief system and their approach to tarot and their use of tarot, what it can do for you or not do for you. For example, there are tarot readers, especially if you think of the typical medieval fair tarot readers, a lot of them have this mystique about them, and they're all about predicting the future. They often also call themselves psychics. So what they will do for you is literally predict the future. They will predict when you will have children, when you will get married, all these sorts of things that you might want to know. That's like the classical version of tarot that has been fed to us mostly through the media. Now, the thing with this is that some people might be able to do that. I've heard of cases where everything came to pass that a psychic said. I think even my father went to a psychic and she accurately predicted when I would be born, when my brother would be born, and all of these things. So I think it is possible, but I think it's not what you should expect of tarot if you want it to be a self-empowering tool, because this perspective is basically handing away the power and just saying, what's going to happen to me? My destiny is determined. Tell me what it's going to be. And I don't believe that that is the most empowering perspective to take. So this is case one if someone else reads for you. Case two, if someone else reads for you, would be someone who does not predict the future, someone who uses tarot in order to empower you and to give you advice, or to guide you on the right path, or to show you new perspectives. See, even in this sentence, I mentioned so many different things because all of that can come from a reading, or maybe it can't, because that's why you have to pick your reader very, very carefully. Because there are readers for sure who sort of, I don't want to say abuse their power, but they definitely have not thought about the ethics of tarot reading a lot. So what they will do is give you straight up advice and say, don't do this, do that instead, stay away from this person, like very straight advice, which the cards may be dishing out to you, but I prefer to see it in a more empowering way and to think about what you can do about your situation and not think like, oh, what is my love interest thinking about me? How will my boss give me a raise? What is my boss thinking of me? How is my boss acting towards me? Whatever you want to ask the cards. These questions are possible, but then what comes out of that is totally different depending on the reader. So if you choose a reader who puts a lot of power in their own hands, they will give you straight up advice and say, do this, don't do this. Whereas someone who's a bit more flexible, or someone who wants to see that the cards always represent different paths, like I would, I would see it a bit more openly, and I would say maybe the energy is not so beneficial if you do this. You can still do it, obviously. You're free. Your destiny is not 100% determined. You have your life path, but what you do with that is up to you. And it might be more beneficial to focus on this, possibly. So you're going to get a key to a new perspective. You're going to get knowledge and wisdom, but what you're not going to get is to hand away your accountability. And that's exactly what I mean when I say choose your reader carefully. A lot of them might put you into a place of feeling powerless, into feeling dependent upon them and their readings, rather than showing you your own power, showing you your own capability, and basically giving you the scepter to do what is most beneficial and most aligned for you in your life right now. So do take mind of who is reading for you. That's the first thing. Now, if we think about whether tarot actually works, we also have to think about the expectations you have of it. I will talk about that a bit later, but first I want to talk about what happens when you read for yourself. So when you read for yourself, you can use tarot however you want, and you can watch millions of YouTube videos on it. There are YouTube videos out there that will teach you how to use tarot or Lenormand or Oracle decks in order to predict the future. If you believe in that, you can try it. There's ways to supposedly accurately predict dates. So a date that you will give birth, a date that you will meet your future partner, a date that you will get a new job, get a new apartment, all of these things. Now, do I think that's helpful to predict these things with tarot? No, I don't. Because in the end, you still have to do something for it. If tarot tells you you will get a new job in 2 months and you don't apply anywhere and you don't do anything for it, it's probably not going to come to pass because you handed away your power, you relied on what the future might bring to you and aren't doing or putting in any work yourself. So I would recommend, if you read for yourself, think about what you want to achieve and formulate your questions accordingly. Keep them open, don't ask yes/no questions, and I think your expectations will be met. If you expect for tarot to take the reins of your life, you can hand off accountability and say, the tarot said this will happen and it will just magically happen to you. Don't do that. Of course, you can use it as a manifestation tool. If you put out a spread, and maybe even pick out cards and say, this is what I want the energy in my life to look like, and you leave the spread out for a couple of weeks, couple of days, always look at it, you will get into that vibe, into that energy of the cards naturally. That's one way you can use them too. It's a great tool for self-reflection, for shadow work, for getting really honest with yourself, and it can reveal a lot of things that you may not have seen like that before, that you may not have understood without an external thing coming in telling you, maybe you should think about it like that. You know, it's like a friend who always gives a really good new perspective, and after you meet with them, you're like, I really have to think about that. Or a therapist, and that's sort of what tarot is. I don't want to liken it to therapy too much because it doesn't replace therapy, but still it sort of has that role in your life where it gives you a new perspective, it gives you fodder to think about, it gives your mind something to consume, something to digest, and then at the end you come out with some sort of realization, ideally, and some sort of progress in your shadow work. I think already the fact that I've spoken about what you can expect when someone else reads for you versus when you read for yourself, you've seen that it's all about the expectations that you put into tarot. So if you are still doubting, does tarot actually work? I think it's good for you to think about what your belief system is with regards to tarot. Because, some people think it's a purely psychological tool. That is the expectation that they have of it. This is a way to communicate with my subconscious mind. I interpret the signs, my subconscious mind gives input, and so I become more conscious of what's within me. Other people say it's a way for them to communicate with, and now you can basically put anything in this gap, communicate with their spirit guides, communicate with their ancestors, with their deities, with the one God that they believe in, with the universe, with deceased loved ones, anything. This is up to you what you expect of the tool. And if you become proficient in it and you become skillful in interpreting the cards and are clear about your intention, what you are using them for, I think that tarot can give you all of these things. It can give you communication with all of these beings. Even if you just believe that there is some spiritual energy that you don't want to define, that is sort of giving you ideas, giving you insight as you lay the cards for yourself, that's something you can believe in too. Now, as I said, do not expect tarot to change your life on its own. You still have to do that. And I think that's precisely where the strength of tarot lies, because it can give you a very clear vision of what you want your life to look like. And based on that, your mind will automatically take steps towards that. Because I think oftentimes we underestimate our subconscious mind and what it is able to do in action for us, put into action for us, if we just let it do its thing. So even if you do a tarot reading and you don't immediately know what action to take, if your subconscious mind learned something from it, took something from it, it's going to gestate within yourself and it's going to develop into something. And I think that's the important thing. So let's say that you're doing a love reading for yourself and you ask the cards, what can I do to find the love of my life? If you believe in the love of your life. Again, up to your beliefs. And if you draw a card like the 10 of Pentacles, for example, I think what that would mean is that if you want to find the love of your life, you have to get yourself into a mindset of legacy building, of building a life together, of building a life on your own and then combining your lives with someone else. The 10 of Discs is a great card for relationships, but it's also a lot of work. It's a lot of building involved in it. So that might put you on the right route. However, let's say you ask the cards, what can I do to find the love of my life? And it gives you the 3 of Swords. Then maybe you should think about whether you have some grievances with old relationships or just in general relating to love or relations with other humans, interpersonal connections. What grief or grievances or issues do you have in that regard? So it might point you towards having to do more work before you can find the love of your life. So depending on these cards, you can then find the first spot to tackle. And even if you don't immediately know what to do, your mind is now like, okay, this is what I have to focus on. This is what the cards showed me, and that's what I'm going to do. And I think that's the important and the empowering thing about reading tarot for yourself, that you can expect to get a perspective, a push in the right direction. And then it's up to you what you do with that. So yes, tarot can change your life if you let it, and if you let it into your heart, into your mind, and then act according to it. And it can also predict the future if you truly believe in that future and truly do something to build it. So it's sort of like a self-fulfilling prophecy. I don't think that just because you drew a certain card, it will come to pass. But if your mind then subconsciously works on that, it will come to pass. So yeah, it's like the chicken and the egg problem. What was there first? The card, your destiny, your action to get towards the goal, all of it comes together to make your future, essentially. So lastly, I want to talk about what I personally do with tarot. I use tarot in different ways. Number one is, of course, with clients. I do offer one-on-one readings from time to time. The best way to know whether I'm doing that is to check on Instagram. I don't know when you're watching this video. Maybe I'll have a shop by then. Maybe you got to write me a DM. I don't know yet. If you want a reading with me, it's probably possible, but the way that you can get it is a different topic. I don't know yet what it's going to be like once you watch this video, because I am thinking about opening my Etsy shop again. Right now I'm just doing it through Instagram DMs when I post on my story and say, hey, I'm ready for readings. Then I read for people. But yeah, I also will make a Patreon, or maybe I already have it at the time of upload. I don't know. So yes, the future is uncertain. But needless to say, I read tarot for people, and that is how I use the cards. I use the cards to really, really empower people. And basically everything I've said in this video, that's how I see tarot. Tarot is a tool for new perspectives, new pathways, new ways of thinking, a problem solver, and all of these things with all the possibilities that you might have. So I also do private readings for myself. I've done quite a few videos of my own routines or spreads that I do for myself. I might also put together ebooks with spreads, or maybe I already have put them together depending on when I upload this. So there's definitely the possibility of seeing how I use tarot, but I'm just going to say some things. Number one, some people say never read tarot if you are emotionally intense. I do though. And I think one of the things that's important to note as well is if you believe that tarot is a scary thing, if you believe that tarot gives you the best and final answer, and if you draw the 10 of swords or the tower, something bad is happening, then you believe that and it will be like that. For me, I can read tarot even when I'm very emotional, when I'm struggling, or when I'm intensely ruminating about something, because it will give me the opportunity to see a new perspective. I know I keep saying that, but that's the main thing. Like, become aware of something that I'm not yet aware of, see things that maybe I've already been aware of, but have them validated by tarot. So I use it when I'm very intensely emotional as an emergency sort of thing. I use sometimes daily spreads where I draw cards for every part of the day. I draw cards about what lessons I can learn. And I think this is also where it sort of differs from how I use tarot with clients or how I teach people to use tarot, because a lot of the time it's not just about shadow work and about the big stuff. It's also about giving your day or your week or your month a theme, a lesson that you are maybe learning. And tarot is great for that. It sort of gives you a bird's eye view of what might happen this month, this week, today, and what you can learn from it, what energies you can avoid, what energies you can tune into because they're beneficial to you. All of that tarot can do, and that's how I use it for myself as well. However, I also have times where I don't use tarot for myself at all, and I think that's important to note too. I think sometimes you don't need it, and you have to be aware of that too and not rely on it too much, but that's a whole other topic. So in conclusion, does tarot actually work? It does. It works as well as you believe it to work for you, and it works as well for you as you put work in. Does that make sense? So if you're scared of tarot, it will scare you. If you have doubts in tarot, you will not trust it. That's just how it is. If you see it positively as a means for growth, it will be that. And it's basically whatever you make it out to be. Just like with anything in life, it's under your control how you use the tool. I do want to add that previously, when I started tarot years ago, I was on the camp of it's just a psychological thing. There's nothing metaphysical about this. It's just about communicating with my subconscious mind. That's the stance I took because I needed to. And I tried it. I started it. And I realized that there's more to it. I realized that there's energies at play that maybe we cannot comprehend as humans. And there's workings that you cannot quite understand, but that are beneficial to you and that help you if you use tarot. So, and then it becomes up to you what you believe those powers are, what you believe the capabilities of tarot are. So yeah, the two things I would recommend if you have doubts in whether tarot actually works is get a deck, learn, study. Don't just go with your intuition. You can, but I think the best readings are a mix of intuition and knowledge. You can also use the little white books that come with the decks. There's no shame in that, plus your intuition. And if you want someone else to read for you and learn from them, pick your reader very carefully. Consume their content. Ideally, they have either a YouTube channel or a TikTok. I mean, a TikTok doesn't tell you that much about a person because it's so short videos, but still, or an Instagram where they make public their opinions. And then you can sort of see, is this aligned with what I expect from a tarot reader? So yes, I do think tarot can work in whatever ways you want it to work for you in your life. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you like this video and want more tarot content, self-reflection, journaling prompts. I'm doing all of that. So thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to the end. And I will see you very, very soon.